When we asked families living in Dumfries and Galloway what was their biggest concern around introducing solids to their child, the most common answer was choking. In today's video, we will be discussing the differences between choking and gagging, different textures for baby, and how to introduce finger foods. It is natural to be anxious or worried about this. Gagging is not a bad thing. It's a safety mechanism, and it's your baby's way of learning to manage the intake of food in their mouths. The gagging noise is just them bringing food back up for them to chew a little bit more. Recent studies have shown that babies are not at an increased risk of choking using finger foods, as babies learning to chew and manage the food in their mouths. During weaning and between 6 and 7 months, the gag reflex starts to move further to the back of the tongue. Therefore, gagging usually occurs less as baby becomes more experienced with their food. If baby starts to gag, try to keep calm and let them work it out. If you intervene by putting fingers in their mouth, patting their back or giving them water, it may push the food down and cause choking. Gagging is loud and expulsive. Baby may turn red as they try and bring food back up. Choking, however, is very quiet and internal. Babies may turn blue when they choke and will require help. Remember, if they are loud and red, let them go ahead. If they are quiet and blue, they need you. You can reduce the risk of choking by waiting until baby is showing signs that they are ready for solids. It is also advised to avoid certain foods or prepare them in such a way to decrease that risk of choking. Think about removing tough skins, stones and pips from food. You can start by offering soft and cooked foods from various food groups. It is recommended to avoid whole grapes and whole blueberries, but these can be served quartered until the age of 5. Whole nuts until the age of 5. However, you can offer these as a nut butter or ground nuts. Chunks of raw carrot and raw apple. You could cook these to make them softer or offer these grated. Popcorn and other small hard foods. Further guidance on the preparation of these foods can be found in the links provided. You may wish to complete a first aid course before you start weaning your baby, where you can learn those life-saving skills. We've included a link from St John's Ambulance below on what to do if your baby starts to choke. Textures. We know that having an early experience with a variety of flavours and textures leads to more acceptance of new foods later in life. By offering lots of textures and finger foods, baby is better able to identify foods, and this can decrease the chance of the baby or child becoming a fussy eater. Some babies will happily eat finger foods and mashed foods and progress swiftly to a range of different textures. Starting foods that are smooth in texture and super soft finger foods is fine, but it is important to move baby onto thicker textures and firmer foods as baby gets more confident with solids. Finger foods. Finger foods should be roughly the size of an adult's finger, so it's easy for baby to pick up and chew. Benefits of offering finger foods include: it helps to develop oral motor skills, the ability to move food around the mouth, to chew and swallow safely, increases hand-to-eye motor skills as they are constantly looking at and picking up food and moving it around their mouth, encourages independence and builds confidence, it reduces the risk of the parent and child power struggle that is more likely if spoon feeding. It's a great sensory experience, different textures, warm and cold, different flavours, and it's so much fun. Baby-led weaning is usually the term referred to letting baby explore, pick up and feed themselves at their own pace. This can be achieved by offering suitable finger foods. However, it is important to remember that regardless if you choose to offer finger foods, spoonable foods, or a combination of both, that you are always led by baby. Go by their cues, let them explore the food, and go at a pace that suits them. There are some foods that are best offered using a spoon, such as soup and yoghurt, but when offering spoonable foods, it's beneficial to also give your baby a spoon so that they can develop their self-feeding and explore the food themselves. Babies have the ability and desire to feed themselves at around 6 months, but how they manage to move the food around their mouths, to chew and swallow, varies from baby to baby. The more exposure to textured food will improve baby's ability to process these foods. It's important to add variety into your baby's diet. We're now moving on to the more sweeter tasting vegetables, but it's good to continue offering plenty of savoury and bitter flavours. It's good to add new tastes and flavours to baby's palate, as this makes weaning an exciting time for them. Sweet potato is a popular weaning food as they're packed full of nutrients. They're also very versatile. As baby progresses through the weaning journey, they're great for bulking out meals, similar to potatoes, rice or pasta. To prepare for mashing, remove the skin and cut into finger-sized pieces and steam for around 10 minutes or until tender when pricked with a fork. Remember, you want them to be soft but not overcooked. It's good to get babies familiar with the individual taste of vegetables initially, but as you progress through the weaning, you can experiment by adding additional flavours such as finely chopped herbs, mild curry powder or other spices, and a little bit of unsweetened coconut milk. For finger food, you can steam them as we've already explained, but they can also be baked in the oven. Simply cut the sweet potato into finger-sized pieces, mix with a little bit of oil and bake for around 25 minutes. You should be able to squidge them between your thumb and finger. As baby becomes familiar with the taste of sweet potato, you could experiment with herbs and spices of your choice. Smoked paprika is always a good one as well. They're also really tasty, dipped in some unsweetened natural yoghurt. Carrots, another very versatile vegetable and one which is really easy to prepare and cook. Carrots provide lots of different minerals and vitamins for baby, and it's a great vegetable to include in their diet. It's important to peel the skin before cooking, as this can be a bit tough for baby, and to retain as much of those vital nutrients, it's best to steam cook. However, if you are boiling, cook the carrots in as little amount of water as possible, and you can then use this cooking liquid if needed to achieve the required texture for your baby. Once peeled, cut the carrot into finger pieces and steam for around 10 minutes until soft enough that you can squidge between finger and thumb. If you're offering food on a spoon, you can then mash some and set some aside to offer as finger food also. Parsnip. This is a winter root vegetable closely related to the carrot and has a sweet, nutty flavour and packed with nutrients. To prepare, peel the skin and cut the parsnip lengthways into quarters. The inner core can be tough, so this can be removed. You can see this shown in the video provided. Cut into finger-sized pieces and steam cook for around 10 minutes, again until soft enough that you can squidge between finger and thumb. As with the carrot, you can mash some and set some aside to offer also as finger food. Parsnips can also be roasted, following the same method as the sweet potato that we talked about. As baby progresses through the weaning journey, you could add some more additional flavours before cooking, such as dried thyme, ground spices such as coriander, or a little bit of garlic or ginger.